Hello and welcome to the How They Did It graduate interview series, everyone. My name is Kiki Lovelace and I am the owner and director of education at Interstellar Pilates and Yoga Studio here in Berkeley, California. And I'm also the founder and lead business growth mentor at the Thriving Studio Owner Program. And this is just one of my favorite things I get to do with my people is interview my graduates at the end of their 12-week experience of my 12-week intro program. And today I get to interview two lovely ladies from my neck of the woods, Charley Aldred and Joyce Chen. They have an amazing Gyrotonics and gyrokinesis studio just across the water in San Francisco. And I'm super excited to share with you guys their story. You know, those of you guys who are watching this are going to be watching this obviously after the day we record it. And just, I want you to know what we're all sitting here in. So I'm sitting on my bed, my daughter's next to me. Joyce and Charley are also mamas. So we have our kids running all over the place because we're all still sheltering in place. This is COVID 2020. And right now, as we're recording this, it's June. And here in Northern California, we're not opening anytime soon. It's just we've all been hanging out in our houses for 3 months. And so we want you guys to know as we enter into this little interview that there may be children that pop in on this interview. So welcome to both of you guys. I'm going to put you on a slightly different view. Welcome, Charley. Welcome, Joyce. I'm so glad you guys are here. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Yes. So I know we've been talking a bunch in the last week or so, and I know that it's been obviously an epic journey. And when you guys came into the Thriving Studio Owner Program, we didn't know what we were entering all into because you guys came in just probably, was it just a few weeks before we all had to close down?
It was 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah. Yeah, that was wild. And so I guess I'd like to start with, and maybe Charley, you could talk about this, like when you guys were thinking, when you were sitting in the place of like, I think I need some business mentorship, tell us where you're at. I know you had actually generated a lot of financial success and like the full schedule, but I know you also felt like you wanted some more support to really grow a business that you could truly enjoy. So can you bring us back there and tell us kind of what you guys were grappling with as you were thinking about working with me?
Sure. So Joyce and I have owned the studio. We just celebrated, our 5-year anniversary. And we really feel like our studio is a gym. Like it's in the right neighborhood. We've really we never had to try hard to get business. It's in the right neighborhood. We're on street level. We have a very unique and successful product, but we felt like after 5 years, our business was really thriving, but we weren't thriving. We had both in the past years become mothers, so we weren't able to see 30, 40 clients a week, and we were still only paying ourselves for clients, for teaching hours, even though we were doing so much behind the scenes stuff. So we just felt like we needed help with having, a successful studio that worked for us, because it wasn't working for us anymore. Right, Joyce? I don't know.
Yeah, Joyce, what do you want to say about that? I mean, I know, like, I remember when you guys came to me, you were like, yeah, this isn't the dream exactly that we had always imagined.
Yeah, I would say that's totally correct and accurate. And the time that we were able to devote to the studio and all the little things that we were able to do ourselves, now that we have children, become a much more challenging. So, those are getting dropped to the wayside. And if we were putting ourselves last, like everybody else, we were taking care of our staff, we were taking care of our clients were happy, we looked like a thriving, successful studio, and we were. Except for we weren't thriving, successful studio owners, and we certainly didn't feel that.
Totally. And so when you came into the program, I mean, not knowing what we were all about to face, do you remember like what exactly, like I know that we had talked about especially building the dream team for you guys, because that was the main issue. And I think that's a main issue that anyone who's watching this, who's also a mom like the three of us, understands, is like when you have kids, your time freedom just becomes like so much more important than really like anything else. Honestly, it becomes the most precious thing. And so I remember we had talked especially about finding the dream team and really getting you guys some of the support that we the three of us intuited that you needed to in order to get your business to stand on its own 2 feet. And I'm sure in the last 3 months it's been a challenge to do that. I think all of us, just like with having to flip our business model so quickly, just went right into like probably our old habits of just work all the time. So give us a little, like, you can get down and dirty here. Like, Joyce, can you tell us what the last 3 months has actually looked like for you with like having the kids at home and mounting a whole new business model? Like, tell us what it's really been like.
It's been definitely learning on the job, just learning as we go. It's been a completely different process for us, mainly because the online classes that we have built from the ground up were something we literally built because we did not have group classes at all. So it was something that we built from scratch. So that was exciting, but it's definitely been a learning process. We've had to learn how to use new technologies. Zoom, we never used that before. We never had to. The whole world uses it now. And then in terms of, we actually learned very quickly that while some of the work wasn't difficult, it was time consuming and tedious, which is, just, it can make you go crazy. So we ended up actually hiring somebody, a support person, to help us. And it was somebody we met and interviewed with before shelter in place. And it was somebody that we had considered for a front desk scheduling support role. And so learning just how to delegate and hand off things, as tedious or as little as they seem, because it almost seemed like it wasn't like challenging. Why would we hand it off to somebody? But at the same time, that's like the perfect job to hand off to somebody.
Absolutely. And have you found it helpful? I mean, I know there's a learning curve, and I want to honor this. There's a learning curve when you start building your team. Like, you're learning how to manage someone, how to train someone. And so I'm sure that there's been some of that here, but have you found it to be helpful, even just like to have little bits of the day-to-day operations handled by this assistant?
Yes, absolutely. And while it's not perfect, we have learned to also, we've learned new things about ourselves, how to be better managers, how to be better delegators, how to be better communicators with the team that we're managing, because frankly, that person is not going to be us and is never going to be us. So unless we're able to clone us, it's a learning process. And we're also learning new skill sets on how to be better managers.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I know, I just see you guys as like, you're in it now. Like we talk about in the Thriving Studio Owner program, what altitude are you at in your business? Are you at the altitude of doer, which is where you guys spent the first almost 5 years? And then you step into the altitude of manager, which is where you're entering into now. And then there's usually like a couple years of that. And then it's time to step into the altitude of leader, which most business owners never step out of manager. They just stay there in manager mode. But I know that for what you guys want, with your time freedom and your ability to be with your family as much as you want to have vacations, all that stuff, it's actually really helpful to have managers who run the day-to-day and even can manage your teams, so that it gives you that kind of freedom. So yeah, I'm excited for you guys to be in this like next piece of your journey and your learning, and to see where that takes you. So Charley, I know that you have been the main person in charge, correct me if I'm wrong, of the marketing pieces, and you guys have had a major up level in marketing. Like, I think Joyce was telling me it felt like you went from 0 to 150 in your marketing endeavors in the last 3 months. So Charley, do you want to speak a little bit to like what has shifted for you? What have you learned, and what are you doing now that's way different than it was 3 months ago?
You taught me a lot. I really like doing marketing now. I mean, I'm a big reader. I love writing. and my brain works that way creatively. But, you know, I used to just kind of really dread sitting down. I'm also a perfectionist, so I just dread writing these emails, and we'd send maybe one a month for a teacher training. But yeah, you've made it like a fun scientific experiment where it felt like you taught us all these little, you know, all the things we need to do. And then it's become fun because it's also working. It's very successful. And I enjoy doing it now, which is really great. And I'm a lot quicker at it too, because I feel like you gave me freedom to do it more. The idea that people aren't just thinking about you. And I thought about it. I was like, oh yeah, I don't mind if someone emails me every day. I read it or I don't read it. It doesn't matter. And I read what I want to read. So I got over that and just started emailing our people every day, and like getting in front of them every day and not being scared to pitch something multiple times. And I realized now, yeah, people need to hear it multiple times for sure. But then you also giving me the formula to, you know, I'd have these great ideas, but I wouldn't know how to sell it. So now I know, like, oh, I can do this and then create a call to action and drive, you know, teaching people how to really buy something basically. So it's been pretty fun. I do actually really like doing it. And Joyce and I, we laugh because other studios are totally plagiarizing my emails now.
Whoa,
We actually did pretty early on in the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
So
hilarious. Oh my God. I know. I mean, you know, I that happens to me too sometimes, but I'm always like, it's all good. Like, we all have our own medicine, and and honestly, you can always tell when they're doing it that they actually don't know what they're doing. They're just seeing what kind of the style, and they're like picking pieces of it. But yeah, that's so funny. So wait, so I want to pause for a second, because you just said something really interesting, which is that the marketing is working. You guys are actually getting results, and you guys have had an incredible, like, interesting moment in your business. So as Joyce was talking about a few minutes ago, you guys created a whole new offering, which was group classes. You guys had a business that was more focused on privates, like, and very kind of small contained sessions. And now there's this group offering. So Joyce, do you want to tell us a little bit about, like, the results the marketing is getting and about what's been happening with this new online group offer?
So, we've been getting mostly clients that are new. They are not necessarily from the area. And of course, they're group classes. And that's completely the opposite of our normal client base, which live in and around the neighborhood. And they tend to like privates. So they tend to like spending time with their teacher, whoever it is, in person. So we all know that, you know, in terms of revenue, classes are going to bring in more revenue because of this, the ratio of students to teachers. So it's been very interesting, the findings that we've been able to see. And it's also interesting that they don't overlap as much. There's a few, but generally not so much. So so you can take that knowledge, and basically when everything opens up again, I think it's great for us to be able to continue on both paths, because really they're two different segments of the population that we serve.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God. Like, it's kind of amazing that you've created this whole new revenue stream. You're attracting new people. They're actually, like, hanging around beyond just, like, the intro. You know, I know you guys created an intro offer, but, like, they're hanging around beyond it. So I know that my audience will be dying to know this, like, where are these new people coming from? Like, is it just from these organic emails that you're sending out in the post? Like, who are these humans from Paris and LA who are showing up to your, you know, San Francisco based online business?
We think it's a combination of Instagram and Facebook and our emails, because that's really mostly what we're the avenues that we're going down. And, you know, prior to that, for our in-person clients, our privates, there's always word of mouth. And of course there's word of mouth here as well. But, you know, you're only so limited if all of our people are coming in from the neighborhood. So the fact that we've been able to have a global reach has been pretty exciting. It's not something that we really ever thought that we would do, or, you know, it wasn't ever our goal per se, but it's just been a great thing to happen.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. What do you want to say about that, Charlie?
I also think that, you know, it was kind of heartbreaking for us that the pandemic and we got quarantined and everything happened right as this course happened, because it felt like for Joyce and I, the coursework kind of fell to the wayside while we were trying to figure out how to run an online studio. But, you know, that's one thing we've talked about, that it has been a saving grace. Like, if we weren't in your course at this time, we would not have been able to launch a virtual studio in a week and set up all these classes. And so I think, and we were one of the first, I think, online gyrotonic studios, at least probably in the country. So Gyrotonic already has a following, and so I think people were looking for it. So I think that's where a lot of these people are coming from too. They already knew Gyrotonic, and we just put it out there and had it ready to go.
Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. I mean, as you guys know, I really so firmly believe in mastering your organic marketing strategy, which is what you guys are talking about, your email marketing strategy and your social media strategy, before you even think about doing any paid ads or any kind of fancy, you know, lead generation funnels. And I'm just so thrilled that you guys have had, in this weird moment in history and time, this experience of like, oh my God, this actually works, you know, and especially with our industry changing so rapidly and the potential that exists actually with the online offering. Like, I'm just thrilled that you were in the program during this time, and that, you know, you guys just picked up those marketing tools so quick, and we're like, all right, this is the new normal. This is what we're going to be doing with our time. So I'm really so excited for you guys. I just know that it's going to continue to grow for you, especially as you can get back to serving your, you know, your other clients who, you know, are just sitting there waiting for you guys to reopen the studio. So let's talk about that for a second. You know, like, I know that, you know, we in Northern California, we're probably not going to be open for another couple of months, but have you guys been reaching out to those students? Are you trying to stay in touch with them? Like, how have you heard from any of them? Do they want to come back? Like, or are they just kind of hanging back, waiting to see what happens?
Joyce, what do you think?
I think there's, in the beginning, there were a couple more people that we've been in touch with. But since then, you know, we have some people that have emailed us kind of on a monthly basis to ask when we're going to be opening again. But in general, I think a lot of people are just waiting back to see, kind of hanging back to see what happens, just because there hasn't been any firm date. Also, it'd be good to note that our clientele that we serve in the neighborhood tend to be a slightly older demographic. So I think it's very important for them to feel safe. And I think so there's a lot of things that need to be in place in terms of, you know, how we're progressing along this pandemic for them to kind of be ready to jump forth. So we have some interest for sure. I wouldn't say 100% of our clientele we're in touch with, but I do think and I do feel that everybody is ready to come back. I think it's just a matter of, you know, how they're going to feel. They're not going to want to feel compromised.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, in talking to some of my graduates who have just, you know, in the last few weeks started to reopen, and sometimes some of them in phases and such. And what I'm hearing from folks generally is like, wow, like the people that weren't showing up online, they are so happy that we're reopening. They're totally showing up again. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I have a couple of graduates who have just done it really gracefully. Like, they're doing all the things and trying to keep people as safe and trying to keep their spaces as clean and sanitized as possible. But I see them doing it really gracefully and like doing their best not to go into overwhelm, you know? So I'm feeling very inspired by that, because when I think about all that has to be done, I'm just like, oh my God. So yeah, so I'm sure that your people will find their way back, and I know you guys will do a really good job of creating that sense of safety and comfort in there. So, you know, being that we all have a couple more months of sheltering in place, and you guys are just sort of like, in this moment, like really poised for growth, can you give my audience a little sense of like what's next? Like, what are the projects that are coming up for you this summer? What do you guys want to see all the way through or complete to continue some of the momentum that you've already built in these last 3 months?
I think continue to develop the online classes, obviously, and teachers and workshops. And, you know, this was actually, it's also a blessing because as some people may know, everyone leaves SF in the summer, especially our clients. So I remember the first year Joyce and I were business, all our clients left like June, July, August. They're gone. So we were like, so now we have the ability, and a lot of them also travel a lot. So it would be nice. We have this ability now to say, oh, no matter where you're going, you can still take classes with us. So we're going to be able to keep our revenues up during the summer, which is nice. So obviously continue to develop that. Continue to work on our space. We finally have signage for our space. And then, like Joyce said, we hired our first, admin helper. So continue to kind of get our team to support us is the next big step.
Awesome.
Did I miss anything?
I also think that this marketing effort that we've now focused on has helped us. It's actually some things have emerged from it, and it's been kind of insightful on how in the direction that we want our branding to go in. And so we kind of come up with like how we want our brand to be perceived, what is our messaging. And so we have a pretty good idea of like the direction that we're going to go in. It still needs to be refined, but it definitely gives us some inspiration to work towards.
Awesome. I'm so excited for you. And I feel like I have a very clear sense of your brand too, from what you guys have shared with me. And it feels like it's just so ripe with potential. And I really can't wait to see what the next like 1 to 3 years brings for you guys in your brand. And also not just in your brand and your business, but in your lives, and in your families, and in just your sense of like not being so tethered to the day to day. And I want to finish today with celebrating a big win, which is that I know that you guys, all these 5 years, you've been in this place, which many of us studio owners and owner operators find ourselves in, which is that we are trading our time for dollars, and we pay ourselves for what we would pay our teachers, like just for the amount of time that we're teaching. And so can you share with my audience just the little win that you guys have been starting to pay yourselves for some salary on top of that? Can we talk about that win?
Yeah. I don't even know how much money it is, Joyce.
Honestly, I don't even think it matters how much money it is. It just matters that you're doing it. That it's happening.
Yeah. I think it's not that impressive amount, but the fact that we're able to do it, and it's a shift in mindset that that we're paying ourselves for what we deserve to be paid. I mean, we were paying for ourselves for our teaching hours, which is great. We're teaching, we're working during those hours, but we're doing so much more than just seeing clients. We're doing so much more to keep the studio and our staff and our clients happy. And, we should start rewarding ourselves for that as well. And so I think it's a very important shift in the thought process to be able to do that, and to be able to kind of just say like, F it, we're going to do it. Before it seemed like there was never a good time. It was always like, well, after we do this, we'll pay ourselves. And after we do this, we'll pay ourselves. And there's always going to be something else to do before we pay ourselves. So it honestly just took, I think, Kiki, you saying 1 week, what did you guys pay yourselves on salary? And Charley was like, what do we pay ourselves? I'm like, we pay ourselves anything. And then it was literally that. And we're like, well, we better pay ourselves something. And from that point on, I think that mindset just shifted, and we're going to try as hard as possible to continue to do that.
Yeah, totally. Charley, what do you want to say about it? Like, I just feel like that's so important that like, you decide, like, it's not like, it's like Joyce said, it's like, there's always ways you can spend all the money. Literally, if you're making, 200K in sales a year, 500K in sales a year, 1.5 million, it doesn't matter. You can find a way to spend every last lick of, the revenue. So there just comes a point where, like Joyce said, you just decide, no, we're not going to only trade time for dollars. This is about the value that we're bringing. It's worth something. It's actually worth a lot. So yeah, Charley, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, it makes me think of, before I did this, I danced in ballet companies, and I would always say about the directors of the company or the admin, whoever, I'd say they have money when they want it and they don't when they don't. Because, they'd say, oh, we don't have money for that, or we can't promote you because we don't have money. And then they'd bring in a soloist from another country, and so it was just very clear to me, like, if you make it is a mindset. It's like, what do you have money for in your life? And so it's just kind of us deciding, like, the money's there. It will be there if we just make that decision that we deserve this. And like I said, Joyce and I, the studio was thriving the past 2 years. And I looked at my taxes and I was like, I barely made any money. I took the biggest hit financially ever because I had a baby. And I'm like, this isn't right. Joyce and I we weren't thriving. And so it's nice just to put ourselves up where we belong.
A little higher on the ladder. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I'm so glad that you guys both had that mindset shift. Is there any other mindset shifts that were illuminating for you or helpful or clarifying for either one of you guys in these last few months?
Just charging our value. Joyce and I keep saying, how many times does Kiki have to tell us to, like, up our prices? But having to do that price analysis was very eye-opening to realize, oh my God, we're down on, like, the lower totem pole with the low-end studios, and what we offer is very high-end. So that's been eye-opening. You continuing to tell us to charge our worth online. And today, actually, would be very proud of me. I had one donation class left that I felt like I had to do. And then I saw this person not make any donation, even though they had a class card on file, they were a working teacher, and they didn't donate to my class. And I was like, that's it, I'm done. Like, I'm worth, more, I need to
more than nothing.
Yeah, more than nothing.
I need to have a business. Sure. Like, this doesn't work for me. It makes me resent my people. So I'm going to charge for my class. So I cut that today. You'd be very happy.
I'm very proud of you, Charley. That's awesome. Yeah, Joyce, anything you want to add to that? Any other mindset shifts you want to celebrate?
I think even just the approach of how we look at pricing. So it's definitely what you're worth, but then how we set the structure. There's a strategy behind it, and it makes total sense.
Ooh, yes, I love that. One of my business coaches always used to say, and she would say it a lot, so I really got it, that she would say, successful entrepreneurship is 20% strategy, what you just talked about, like pricing strategy, but it's 80% mindset and energy, and it's like, it's so true. And I feel like you guys are just shining examples of how you really took that in. And even in this wild west of, COVID-19 and all that's been going on, you learned those things. You learned those principles of successful small business ownership. So I'm just so proud of you both. And I'm just really excited to see what comes of this next, 3 months and this next 3 years and beyond. And I just want to congratulate you both. And so can one of you tell my audience, if they want to take some of your gyrotonics and gyrokinesis classes, how could they find you guys?
You just go to our website, the Seed Center SF, or seedcentersf.com.
Okay. And you guys are on Instagram also, right?
Instagram, Facebook.
Okay.
I make daily posts, thanks to Kiki.
Yes. Awesome. Yeah. Wonderful. And for those of you guys watching at home, thank you so much for joining us. I hope this was illuminating for you. And I want to share that if you're interested in working with me and my team, we are accepting new applicants for our 12-week program, as well as for our alumni program and our Purpose and Profits Mastermind, 12-month mastermind. And so I'll put the link to my team's calendar in the comments below, and you can grab a time slot on there, and we will help you on this call that I actually had with Charley and Joyce about 3.5 months ago to get super clear on what your goals are. Just like Charley and Joyce, you may have some very specific income goals that will make this business sustainable for you and enjoyable for you. But I'm sure you also have some other goals about work-life balance, about the kind of time freedom you want for your own health and wellness and self-care practice, as well as for spending time with your loved ones and doing the things outside of entrepreneurship that actually mean a lot to you. So we'll help you get clear on that. And also, my team members are really good at helping you figure out exactly what the next steps are in order for you to achieve those goals. And if those steps align with our curriculum and our coaching and the style that we teach our people in, then we may invite you to be one of the mentees we take on this month. So thank you, Charley. Thank you, Joyce. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and have a wonderful day.